Hey everybody, welcome to Challenge Athletes Live. My name is Bob Babbitt. Our next guest, one of our favorite people on the planet, a baloney amputee, Mr. Eric McElvenny. Big E, how the heck you doing?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. And I love spending time with you, Bob.
It's always a lot of fun, man. We go back a few years, and it's not often that somebody goes from, usually people go from the mile to the 5K to the 10K and eventually to the marathon. You're a guy who's been doing Ironman for a lot of years, and then all of a sudden you decide, oh, I'm going to try to make the Olympic team. I'm going to go a quarter of the less than that, like less than a quarter of the distance.
Yeah, it's a
How has that been training for this shorter stuff? And you've had some pretty good success.
yeah, honestly, it's been great. So last I guess January, February, kind of made the decision that I was going to transition to the sprint distance and the short stuff, and it's been fun. It's still been a lot of training. It's just there's a lot more higher tempo, like interval training mixed in. But it's been cool because I've really had to focus and had an opportunity to focus on technique and transition and little things like that. And when I do come back to the long distance world, I think I'm going to come back at, ready to tackle that again. So it's been really good so far. A lot of fun.
You'll take that speed and you'll be a mean machine when you go along again.
Yeah. Part of that.
So growing up as a ball sports guy, right? Pittsburgh and baseball, football, all that type of stuff. Would you have ever envisioned yourself as an endurance guy?
Not really. Not growing up. I had never raced anything. I just played football, played baseball in high school. Before that, played some basketball as well. Anything like that had a goal or whatever. Soccer, hockey, I would get out and play with friends. But usually there was some type of scoring like that, and I just never raced. So wasn't something that was really on my mind growing up.
Now, did you come from a military family? What led to you going into the service?
What led it? Yeah, I do come from a military family. It was not hugely military. My grandfather served in the Army in Korea. My dad actually served in the Navy. My sister was in the Air National Guard as well, and she's a year older than me. But I just, from being young, always kind of pictured that being a soldier thing, and just fell in love with what the Marine Corps is and what they represent. When I was in 8th grade, I had to do a homework assignment on them, and that was it. I was like, I'm going to be a Marine when I grow up. So that was kind of the big decision.
And you ended up doing what, 3 tours?
So I did 3 deployments. One was Southeast Asia, one was Middle East on and off ship, and one was Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan, end of 2011, that's when your world changed in a pretty significant way. What happened?
Yes, yeah. So I was on deployment there. It was a great deployment, very cultural, lived directly with the Afghan military and people. And on December 9th that year, 2011, on a patrol, I stepped on an improvised explosive device, triggered the explosion underneath me. And fortunate that I was with the men that I was, and they saved my life, got me out of there with, a below knee amputation and some other small tissue damage. But for the most part, that was it. Lost my leg, but started the next journey.
Well, what was fascinating about it is from the point you were injured to getting to the hospital. I mean, everything happened so quick. It was almost like textbook. How do we get a guy out? How do we get him to the hospital? How do we take care of him? When you look back on it, are you sort of surprised at how quickly everything happened?
Yeah, actually, when it happened, I was surprised. Now I look back on it and I realize, years into the war, the process was, it was streamlined. It was good. I had initial surgeries in Afghanistan, flew to Germany, which were, we almost all of us go, then back to the United States, and they were able to get me back out to San Diego because I was stationed on Camp Pendleton, and that's where my wife and daughter were living. So that's where I did my recovery. But during that process, it's like, wow, it was 6 days after my injury, I was in a hospital in Southern California.
That is unbelievable. And then just not that long after that, an officer comes in who's a amputee. And and he comes in and basically takes his leg off and gives you a challenge.
Yeah, basically it was Max Frank, captain in the Marine Corps. He was injured, I think about 6 months prior to me, but I'm in the hospital bed. I really had no idea what a prosthetic looked like at that point. Like I'm still trying to get out of pain and doing with that whole thing. And I had visitors coming in and out, and gentleman walks in, introduces himself as, hey, you know, my name's Max. I'm a captain. And then he reaches down and he does this. He's like, hey, here, take this. It's his prosthetic leg. I'm like, oh wow, you know, it's nice shoes, man. and he said, yeah, I was injured 6 months ago. I just started running. I was up and walking within 2 months. See if you can beat it. And then for the next few weeks, and actually for the next few months after that, he was kind of a mentor as well. I mean, he took us out, my wife and I, out to dinner and just explained the process and took some of that fear of the unknown away. But
Yeah.
that's it.
That was so cool. Because then you got, I remember, I think it was on Camp Pendleton. You did a sprint try. Wasn't that long after, I think it was like, what, less than a year after you were injured, right? And I think you even went and did Super Frog that fall.
I mean, everything happened. Like you said, everything happened so fast initially, but then just the process throughout, the physical therapy and learning how to walk and learning how to run. And then 8 months, it was the 8-month mark. And that was, I mean, Challenge Athletes Foundation, Nico kind of got me hooked up with that. But
How'd you connect? How'd you connect with Nico?
I connected with him. There was a little bit through the hospital, but mostly through the surf clinic.
Okay.
The surf clinic was at the Del Mar Beach, where people with traumatic injuries had an opportunity to get out of the surf. A lot of volunteers there, and one time there, I see this silly-looking guy. No, I see this manly-looking guy with his dog, and it's Nico. And we get to know him, and quickly, we have a lot in common with the Marine officer thing, and just mentalities are kind of similar. And his question to me was, hey, what sport do you want to do? And at that point, I already had a plan. Like, hey, I kind of want to run an Ironman. He's like, all right, I'm not going to do it with you, but I'll help you get there. How's that sound? I was like, that sounds great. That sounds great.
And what was so funny is, it's funny, I got this picture behind me of Jim McLaren, and it's when we were working with chocolate milk, and we were talking about, well, hey, we want to connect challenge athletes to this. We want to have a challenge athlete as part of this Hines Ward Become One program at Ironman. We're going to pick some people to come race with Hines at Ironman. And little did we know that Hines was like a hero for you.
Yeah, I'm a Pittsburgh guy. Grew up watching the Steelers. At that point, I had already watched him play in the pros for 14 years. One of my favorite players, because just the way he played the game and the way he enjoyed the game. You know, he's out there enjoying life and good role model. And yeah, so that just the connection was cool. I wanted to run an Ironman. You guys were looking for a challenge athletes to do this chocolate milk thing, and Hines Ward was part of it. It was like, wow, that's cool. I feel like
you were a lower leg amputee, like Jim McLaren. So it was like, boom.
Yeah.
Everything. How did Hines let you know you were going to be going to Kona to race with him?
It was kind of like what we're doing right now. It was a Skype call, and it was like super early out on the West Coast. The chocolate milk team wanted to do one last interview with me, so I got up, get my computer open. I opened it up. Someone from the chocolate milk team was on the other line, and they had like notes and stuff. I was like, oh, let me grab a pencil and a notebook. And I go to grab one, and when I come back, Hines is sitting there, and he said, hey, E. He starts calling me E. He's like, E, we're running this Ironman together. I was like, oh, this is awesome. It was such a cool moment and such a cool experience throughout.
So for you, how many Ironmans have you ended up doing?
I've done 8 now.
What's your PR?
10:20.
10:20. Yeah. I know you want to get under 10:09, right? Or what? I don't know. Rivaldo's Martins has got a fast time out there.
57.
You can get there. But what did it mean to you? Because you, like you said, Max Franks came and he was your guy. He came to you and said, you can do this. What did you take from that that's helped you with other challenge athletes that you meet?
Yeah, he set the example of what it means to be a mentor, really. And it wasn't much. It was him walking into my room, shaking my hand, saying, hey, look, I'm up and I'm about, I'm doing this. What do you got? So that helped me. As soon as I got up and about at the hospital, I told one of the physical therapists, hey, whenever we get new guys in, let me know, because that meant a lot to me, and not only to me, but my family as well. Because he took some fear of the unknown away, and then put a little bit of inspiration and motivation in me. It's like, that's what I want to do to others. And it really doesn't take that much. Sometimes it's just seeing that it's possible is enough. But I'd love to be an outlet. Anyone who wants to chat about prosthetics or amputation or triathlon in general, like, I just want to be an open book.
For you, we're doing this interview a little bit before Father's Day. You're a dad, and I'm assuming when you moved back to Pittsburgh, one of the reasons was you wanted your kids to be close to the family. So as a dad, how involved are you with your kids' lives on a regular basis?
Yeah, the coolest, most amazing thing that I do, and I get to do a lot of cool stuff. I get to race and travel around and speak and do some stuff here and there. But the most important thing that I do is just that, be a dad. And I have 3 kids now. My daughter, who was 5 when I was injured, Lupe, she's now 13. So now, I get to, honestly, she's almost past me intellectually, so I can't help her with homework as much anymore. But when it comes to sports, she plays softball and is getting into some running. Like, I love being a part of that and just being an example and a role model in her life. And then with my 2 little ones, I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And it's just, they're really, they're my priority. And I love being with them and love spending time with them.
So years ago, you had received a blue placard, the handicap placard that comes in the mail. The first one you got, you're like, no way, I'm threw it away. Next one comes, put in the glove box, figured, you never know, I might need it. So Christmas time, out with shopping with Loopy, can't find a parking space. What happens next?
Yeah, that's and at that point I'd taken that placard and used it every once in a while, because sometimes parking's a little bit far. Yeah. So we pull into the grocery store. I just had never used it with anyone in my family in the car. It was kind of like my secret, right? We pull into the parking lot, and there's no parking anywhere. So I just kind of zip to the front of the store and park in the handicap spot, and I grab my placard and I hang it up there, and I say, hey, Lupe, let's go. And so she's 6 at this point. She gets out of the truck, and we start walking into the store, and she says, Dad, what was that magic blue ticket? And I kind of laugh a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, that magic blue ticket, that's for so I can park right there. That ticket, so I can park there. People like me with one leg, we're allowed to park a little bit closer right there. And without missing a beat, she says, but Dad, you have 5 legs. She said, you have a running leg, a biking leg, you have a water leg, a walking leg, and your left leg. And funny, I kind of laugh a little bit, walk into the store, and honestly, just thinking about it, I was feeling guilty, like I wasn't setting a very good example for my daughter. And I have nothing against handicap parking, like, that's necessary. Some people need it. But I ran that day 6 miles. I'm training for an Ironman, someone needed that spot more than me. She helped me realize that I was using my leg as an excuse when it was convenient for me. And that's when I decided, like, hey, I'm not going to use this leg as an excuse anymore. Not just with parking, not with anything. Like, that's not it. That's when I started racing age group instead of physically challenged. Little things like that just help switch my mindset a little bit, from using that as an excuse to really just, hey, everyone has something going on. Like, I'm not going to keep complaining every time something happens that, oh, I lost my leg. Like, I'm not a victim. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I just want to get out there and do it. So that was cool that she opened my eyes to that. So
with the Olympics, Paralympics moving from 20 to 21, is that a good thing for you? Because you were sort of getting into this a little late, right? Does it give you more time to work on the speed and hopefully make the team?
Yeah, I see it as a good thing. Yeah, it was going to be a fun spring. It really was, because I've had an opportunity to get into a couple races and do well. But that all got pushed, and really, like, I've just been given this opportunity to really hone in things. I'm back to back to like base training, but getting my prosthetic legs fit really well and just learning how to take more miles while running and biking. And just, I think it's going to help me just depending on when we're able to start racing and getting points again.
Love it. Okay, we're going to go to rapid fire.
Oh, no. All right.
These are quick. What's your best CAF memory?
San Diego Triathlon Challenge, that first year I was injured. Hands down.
What was it about that? What was just seeing all the other people dealing with it?
Oh, yeah. It was the kids' smiles. You know, I went thinking it was going to be this race, and I'm preparing for this race, and I'm nervous, and I show up, and I see these kids, and growing up, I see everyone, but it was the kids with 2 prosthetic legs running around smiling. That's when I was like, wow, this is special. Like, they're actually setting an example for me. And I wasn't prepared for that. And I remember just walking around with the chills the whole time. That event was amazing. And I've just been able to be part of it, I think, every year since. And every year kind of does the same thing to me.
So now that you are racing at that shorter distance, representing your country, going and representing your country, because when you're doing Ironman stuff, you're representing yourself and your sponsors. But
Right.
now representing your country, how cool has that been?
It's the coolest thing. And I just kind of like realized recently, because someone asked me that question, that I served our country in uniform, and now I get to go and represent our country in uniform, but in a sports uniform. And it's just, for me, it's kind of cool. At first I was looking for, okay, I need a good reason why I want to do this, because it's going to be hard, it's going to be a commitment, and I need that every morning when I wake up. And I came up with, well, yeah, I want to be an example for my kids and stuff, but I get to go and represent our country in a sport. In a competition like that. To me, that's reason to get out of bed in the morning and to go and work out.
And to go to Tokyo and represent your country in the Paralympics, that would be pretty bitchin'.
Oh yeah.
Go-to comfort food?
Peanut butter.
Love it. Person you miss seeing the most during all of this craziness?
Nico.
Place you can't wait to visit when you're able to go travel again?
San Diego. I usually come out there a good bit, getting legs worked on and seeing you guys, and
yeah,
makes sense.
What words do you love to hear from a coach?
That I love to hear. This is going to be hard.
What words do you hate to hear from a coach?
I hate to hear anything about being overtrained or too much. Dial it back. But it makes sense.
Yeah. So for people out there, for our challenge athletes out there who might be struggling a little bit right now, what's your message to them?
Anyone that's, I guess it's for anyone, just keep going. It's, there's definitely the parts of the journey. Like I got hooked up to go run an Ironman and keep doing things. And it really was an amazing experience, but it was hard. It was challenging. There were days that I couldn't put my prosthetic leg on because of sores, and that I wanted to quit. And there was plenty of times that I wanted to quit. And I just had people in my life that helped keep my eyes open to what's important, and realized that, hey, as long as you don't quit, like, you know, now we're talking about it. You know, we talked about the whole Kona Ironman thing. Like, that was a great experience. It wouldn't have happened if I would have quit. So, man, am I glad that I went through some of the pain, some of the challenges to get to that finish line.
Love it. Thanks as always for taking so much time. Give my best to the kids and everybody else back there. Love chatting with you, man.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for having me on.
Eric McElvenny has been our guest, everybody. Thanks so much.